All right. So we're here with Expert Hunting Tips, and we're going to give a breakdown of the 4-packs that we've used quite a bit and just go over the likes and dislikes of them all. We've done a lot of backcountry elk hunts, deer hunts. I've got 2 backcountry, just DIY Alaska moose hunts. This year I have another Alberta moose hunt or archery. So Mike and I, we like to go and we do a 5-mile hike once a week with heavy backpacks. And we usually have it range from about 100 to anywhere to 140 pounds. Last week we did the Exo K4 with 140 pounds. But we thought it'd be good just to break down our sizes, our measurements, and then likes and dislikes of the packs. So the packs we have are the Barney's Frontier Gear of Alaska. And with this pack, I'll start with this one. I've got some experience with it. I just want a big meat hauler backpack. I went cheap and put on the Alps backpack because it was cheap on Amazon. I wasn't sure if I was going to like it or not, so I didn't want to spend the big money on the Barney's pack. But I like this load shelf quite a bit, and it hauls loads really well. It's nice because you have a lot of tie-off points you can use with it. So anything you want to carry, if you had enough paracord, you could make it work for sure, which is super nice. The lumbar pad and the hip belt are very thick, so I do like that because it's a lot of cushion and it's comfortable. But as I hiked with it, I've done a few 7-8 mile hikes for 4 or 5 days, and over time I have to imagine it's these bars down here. These bars, you can feel them digging in to my hips as I'm hiking with them, and so they create real bad hot spots for my back. It's hard for me to understand why, because it's hard to find a Barney's pack for resale online because everyone loves them and swears by them. But I really think it's mostly because they are comfy, and usually you're not going to be hauling a moose for 7 miles or whatever it is. So I understand it, but those hot spots with a heavy load, they add up really quick, and it starts to become really uncomfortable for my back. But
wouldn't you say, especially on downhill?
Especially for downhills, yeah. And but overall, it's ventilated really well, so it breathes well on your back. Sturdy as a rock. One thing I will for sure note is that it is a little harder to work a bow because you don't have a lot of that mobility from the hip to the torso. We got a lot of gnats out here. We live down here in southern Utah, and it's June 21st, but so the bugs are coming out. Side note, so this backpack doesn't aid well for a lot of great mobility. So steep hunts, archery, that kind of stuff, you definitely feel like this thing is stuck to your back, and it really kind of limits your range of motion. But for hauling heavy loads, this thing's not going to break. A lot of guys I've talked to, they take it, chuck it off mountains if they're on a sheep hunt, whatever it is, doesn't break, indestructible, lasts you 10 generations. You could put it in the wheel for your grandkids, and it'll still be just fine. So I like the backpack for its durability because it'll last you forever, and I like the padded shoulder straps and the hip belt. But again, the only thing I really had an issue with was these metal bars digging into my hip over long hikes. But outside of that, really nice backpack, very durable. Wouldn't hesitate to keep it in the back of the truck for a buddy to help me haul out some elk quarters, whatever it is. It's great for that. The next one was the first backpack I started with, and that's the Kifaru. Thank you. So the Kifaru, this was the first backcountry pack that I bought. I really wanted to like this bag. Everyone had great things to say about it. American made, all the good things, good reviews. And I gave this 2 years. I did take this on my first DIY Alaska hunt. And the issue I had with this was a lot of the same issues that people online were having issues with, which I think has nothing more than to do with how my body is. But I could not for the life of me keep this thing on my hips. It would slide down and I'd cinch it. I think if you learn to use a Kifaru backpack, you've become a master of being able to manipulate any backpack. It's a bit rough getting used to. A lot of watching videos, rewatching videos, and then you finally piece it together. And then once you learn how to work a pack like this, I think it helps with tinkering with other backpacks. But I spent 2 years trying to make it work, and I just couldn't keep it to stay on my hips when I got to loads more than like 60, 70 pounds, and it'd start sliding down, and then my hips would go numb and tingly. And I really wanted to be a Kifaru guy because I liked their American made, good company and all that stuff, but I just, when it came down to it, I just couldn't make it work. So I still will use it from time to time, just give my packs a break. I really like the load sling here, so I just put stuff in here, cinch it down, and off I go. And I'm usually good for 30 minutes or so, and then my legs go numb again. I take it off, but good packs, good durability, really functional. I love all the different backpack models and designs they have. They have a lot of really cool stuff, a lot of modularity, different packs for every situation you could ever think of. So I really think that's cool, and it's fun if you're a gear guy. But at the end of the day, I just could not keep this thing on my hips. I have a very big sway back or contour in my lumbar spine, or a hyperlordosis if you want. So I know I have a big sway back, and I don't know if that was just the issue, but for me, love the make, the models, the packs. This is the Duplex light frame, and I tried 3 or 4 different packs because I just really wanted to like the pack, but I just couldn't keep it on the hips. And so now, you know, I let other people use it, try it, and I'll pack with it every now and then just to see if I've gotten used to it. And I think I got it 5 years ago, and I still can't get it to work. So like everything about it, just can't keep it on my hips. And I've read a lot of people on online forums trying everything to make it work, and they just, I think it's the anatomy. It's nothing to do with the pack. It's made well, great, really durable. Just, I think if you don't have the right kind of spinal curvature for it, it's just not staying on.
Yeah, I'd agree. Same experience for me on that.
So the next one's Stone Glacier. I love this pack. I took this to Alaska last year. There's my Alaska patch. This is the X-Curve.
Yep, X-Curve.
X-Curve, and this is the 7900 pack. I love this pack. I way overpacked the last time I went to Alaska. We were going to be doing a lot more traveling, hiking, so I wanted to have a little more gear just based on the different situations we might come into. And long story short, I had like 130 pounds of gear between my buddy and I. He hadn't gone out a lot, so I had a lot of his stuff, and he was kind of newer to it, so I overpacked just because worst case scenario is the newer backpacker I was worried about. I love this pack. I love the company, made in the USA. I like that they're a very blue collar, down to earth company. And this thing, when you put it on, it sticks to you really well. This molded to my back perfect. It stayed in place. The only issue that we'd have with going down hills is I think because this lumbar pad is so adhering or sticky, it would just chafe like crazy on my lower back. And your back would just go numb from the chafe of it. And I've had this pack for 3 years, and a lot of heavy loads, half an elk at a time, over a couple miles. And it really does a good job staying on my pack. I like that the bag is simple. It's a very simplistic layout, which I really like. I like the horseshoe zipper. The materials are durable. The X pack on it washes really easy to get blood off of it, off the frame. I do think that getting to the load shelf is simpler than other packs, and once it's on there, it stays. I have no issues with it. For me, it worked great. I just felt like there had to be something a little more comfortable, but outside of that, the only other negative I have with it is the straps. A lot of people kind of, with a lot of these backcountry packs, say that it's confusing. You got buckles and straps everywhere, and I do agree with that. It takes a lot of maintenance to keep the straps tucked nice and tight on these, and if you have the guide lid on top of it, then you have more straps. And so instead of pulling your load lifters, you might get your lid straps. If you're trying to pull your shoulder straps, it feels like you have your load lifter strap. So there's just a lot of straps hanging around everywhere. But once you get used to it, not the end of the world. I just thought there was something a little more comfortable. But all in all, for my back and having a big curve in the lower spine, this thing fit amazing. It stuck to my hips like glue. I never had it sliding off my hips, going uphill, downhill, side hilling, 100-pound plus loads. It really did a great job. A couple of things I wasn't a big fan of. These shallow pockets here on the side, these are really shallow, And so yes, you can put some stuff in there and cinch it down, but I just want a little deeper pocket just for smaller miscellaneous things, but I'd worry about those falling out. And then I wasn't a big fan of not having the molly webbing here on the side, like the Kifaru does, and like the Exo K4 has. So you have a side pouch here and it slides quite a bit, or if you have your, like I'd keep my pistol on a Kydex sheath attached to this and that would slide a bit. The hip belt padding isn't as thick as some of the others, but again, I didn't really ever have an issue with it pinching or giving me any numbness in the legs. So overall, I really like this pack. I just want something a little more streamlined, a little easier, user-friendly, if you will, and then have a little more pockets on the side and just a little easier access to the load shelf. But functionality, made in the USA, company, all those things were amazing for my body frame.
For me, this Stone Glacier 7900, that was probably my first legitimate backcountry pack that I used. My first pack was a Sitka, and it was good build, but absolutely no lumbar support, and so it's coming right off you. When I got connected with Mark, he hooked me up with some of his packs to give a test run, and I had similar experiences. The Kifaru wouldn't stay on my back. I have that same large curve in the lower back. And so when I put this Stone on, it was the first pack I'd ever put on that stayed in place, and I was really impressed. And so we used it on a few hunts, and as far as load carrying capabilities, awesome. As far as build quality, awesome. Pretty much everything he said I would second. Yeah, really the only issues with it is just kind of ticky-tacky stuff. So if you're just doing average loads, it's going to be fine. But just like he said, if you start packing heavy and you're going for miles, that's just going to eat up your lower back. And I mean, it's nice when it's on, it doesn't move, it's locked in place. But yeah, we kind of had the same thought. There's got to be something more comfortable. Same thing what he said with the hip belt. It's nice to be able to cinch the hip belt and kind of get a custom fit on how the hip belt bites. But as far as mounting accessory pockets, it's like, in my opinion, it's terrible. When you have that accessory pocket on there, you can't open it with one hand because it just sits there and slops around. So you're trying to get back and get two hands on the pouch to get out, a snack or your flashlight or whatever. And then just some other gripes is the straps everywhere, especially when you have the lid on there. The lid straps drape over. When you go for your load lifters, you'll end up tugging on your lid, and then your lid doesn't really stay in place. It just kind of slops all over the place. And then my other gripe is separating the bag from the frame. There's some straps down here, right here, and basically those straps put tension on the top of the bag and pull it down onto the stay, and so it keeps it in place when you're not using your load shelf. But whenever you want to unhook or rehook your load shelf, it's a pain getting those in place. And then kind of the same thing with these side pockets. If you have the pack compressed for day use, you can't access these side pockets, so you might as well not have them. And then even when you're fully expanded, it's this same Cordura material, so you really don't have any stretch, so it's kind of hard to put stuff in there. And then they are really shallow. So functionality wise, the pack is amazing, but we just both thought there's got to be something a little bit more streamlined. When you're tired in the backcountry and you're having to fight straps and keeping stuff organized, it just kind of nags at me personally, mentally, and I just wanted something just a little bit different, a little bit more streamlined. So that kind of leads us to our next.
Yeah. But while you mentioned that, while you're grabbing that Exo, this pack and frame moves really well with your body though. Like shooting a bow with this, no problem. We do a lot of archery, mule deer, and elk out here. No problem with mobility in the pack. So I like that it moves a lot more than the Barney's does. And it's obviously lighter than the Barney's. The Barney's is heavy and bulky. So I definitely want to make sure everyone knows that this is a great company and the pack performs really well. It's exactly what you want. These are just one of those things that maybe just you get the itch to try new gear. Because when we train, we've gone up to 140 pounds in this pack, the Barney's, the Kuiu or the Kifaru, and this Exo we're going to talk about next. And with the exception of the Kifaru, they all stayed on the hips.
Yep.
They all stayed on. It's just over time.
They're all top-notch packs.
They're all phenomenal. So I don't think you can go wrong with it. It's just, I guess, how spoiled are you with gear? You know, functionality versus your wants and needs, that kind of stuff. Is it a necessity? No. Is it a want? Yes. But still a great pack, and I've been really happy with the Stone. A lot of pack outs, and I've been really happy with it. Customer service is amazing to work with, and I have nothing but good things to say about the company. So we came out here to do our nightly hike a few weeks back. Mike got a wild hair and said I bought the new K4 from Exo, and I'd never really thought much about Exo, to be honest. I love the Stone. I had my gripes, but it stayed on my hips, and it did the best job packing heavy loads that I'd experienced comfortably. And so I wasn't really looking for much. I just figured that's what it was. And with heavy load, you're gonna have some discomfort somewhere. But he shows up with a wild hair with a brand new Exo K4, and it
happens, you know.
I was in the Barneys, and I did 100, and I think it was 142 pounds in the Barneys. And we were coming down. I said, I gotta take 5, give me a break. And I took the pack off. He took his pack off. I picked his up and put it on, and I said, there's no way this has 100 pounds in it. Do you have 100?
I had 100, yeah.
100 pounds? There's no way it's 100 pounds. And I walked around for a minute. I could do high legs, whatever I wanted to. I felt amazing. And so then I ended up buying one. So this is the new K4. This is the 7200. We have the lid. I think Mike runs the lid on his. His is right there. These are 80-pound packs tonight. We did a heavy one last week, so this week's lighter. So we have the lid. You should actually probably grab your pack, because that's
I'll
great.
bring it over.
So this pack, what I love about it is slick. Everything with the molly on the side, the water bottle holder, and this is again one of those things, like, you want to talk about a software generation. I've never had a water bottle holder that I can literally hike, pull it out, drink, put it back in without having to stop and really take a lot of effort to get the water bottle in the Nalgene holder. So it's a stupid thing, but it's just one of those things that you just don't want to deal with. So this water bottle holder is amazing.
It's so nice.
So nice.
So nice.
It's streamlined. It doesn't move around. It's great. And on the hip belt pouches, like Mike was saying, because they stay in place, you can open it and close it without it shifting and moving on you, which is another really nice thing to have. You want your granola bar, your headlamp, whatever it is, you unzip, take it, close it back up. It's easy to use. I like these stretch pockets on the side. They're deeper, and you can put another Nalgene in there. Even if your pack's full, you can still put another Nalgene in there. With the other packs, like we talked about, it's shallow on the sides, and because it doesn't have a ton of extra or any stretch in it at all, if your pack is full out to the side, you're not going to be able to probably put much in there besides your tent poles, trekking poles, something like that. Like, definitely not another Nalgene. And so on this thing, you can have the bag maxed out and still put a Nalgene in the side or whatever else, and then clip it on this buckle and strap it over it to keep it in place. And I really think Exo did an amazing job of just well thought out, low stress, low hassle things for a backpack that you're looking for. It's just one less, like you said, ticky-tacky kind of thing to worry about, which makes sense because Exo, what I like about them is also American made, but all they do is make packs, nothing else. So all their focus is 100% on let's make a good or a great streamlined pack that's easy to use. And like I said, I'd never thought of having an Exo pack before until Mike brought it in, but they did a really good job with the pockets, the layout. I mean, I cannot tell you how easy it is to access the load shelf. Even with 100 and something pounds, you slip these, undo the Velcro, lift it, and you're out. There's no things down here to mess with. It comes off super easy and reattaches really easy. And the lumbar pad is comfortable. The hip pad, super comfortable. It molds to you. So last week, and we'll post this video, I did 142 pounds in this Exo K4. I had 0 hip slippage or bag slippage on it. It stayed right on my hips the whole time. The only thing that was bothering me was the fatigue in my legs, which it was a heavy pack, 900 feet of elevation, and we were right at 4.3 miles or something like that. And it stayed on my hips really well. I could loosen the load lifters or loosen the shoulder straps. It'd stay on there. I could cinch those down if I wanted to take pressure off the hips. It just, for my curvature in my back, my frame, my build, this sticks like glue. And what's more impressive is even with a heavy load, the way this frame articulates in the hips, this thing swivels really well. So I could shoot a bow with a 100-pound pack with no problem, and this thing will move really well with me, which is incredible. I like all the MOLLE attachments here on the shoulder straps. For I think they have a mini inReach accessory you could put on there. But they have a really good organization for tucking straps in places. So if you have the lid on, like we'll show you with Mike's, you just tuck straps down and you don't have more straps flopping around. But it's just streamlined and incredibly easy to use. And how customizable these shoulder straps are to get like a little extra inch high, a little extra inch low, to make it customizable to your body. I just think that we've found the golden goose, and that's, again, for my spine, my build, this is awesome. And the customer service, top shelf, just every pack. I mean, I bought the Barney's frame, Anchorage, Alaska. They were a great store, great people, great customer service. They all have great customer service. These companies, nothing but good things to say. But so 140 something pounds, did great, no problems. Couldn't be happier with the easy use. I did a 4-day hike over the weekend with some Boy Scouts. I only had 30 pounds in there, cinched everything down, even though it's a 7200. It fit great. It was tight to my back. It didn't have a lot of slop. With the lid, no slop. And everything just felt really good, and I can't wait to take it into the backcountry this year.
So we'll show you the lid. So this lid is the first lid on any pack I've ever messed with that you can actually lock down. All the other packs, your lid's these straps for your lid are gonna slip off. And so the way Exo did it is pretty genius. So they have this custom buckle, and so your load lifter goes to the front of this buckle, and you never have to undo your load lifter to do anything with your pack, which is awesome. Then your lid straps tuck through this other part of that glide, and so you can cinch your lid down, I mean, depending on your load, as high or as low as you want, and it's just locked in place. And then these lid straps are out of the way, so when you reach up for your load lifters, you're not going to grab another strap. Everything's tucked and out of the way. And then when you want to drop your bag from the frame, you literally just loosen your lid, or you can pop the lid all the way off, let it hang, and then that exposes the connections to pop the bag off the frame. And so these connections are basically doing like on the Stone Glacier pack, those lower straps that were kind of a pain to mess with. These are replacing that on the Exo. So it's just Velcro. It pops through that little glide right there that your lid straps also go through. See if I can get it.
Not clutch under pressure.
Fat finger in it.
This is what it looks like if you don't like and subscribe.
And then literally your bag pops off the frame. You pop your side compression straps, and you're ready to secure a load. And so a couple weeks ago when Mark got his pack in, he had played with the settings beforehand at his house, but when we got on the trail, he's like, oh, I think I need to lower or adjust my frame just a little bit. And so he had over 100 pounds in that pack, and he was able to drop his pack off the frame in like 30 seconds and make the torso adjustment, and then pop his bag right back on, no problem, no sweat. And there's not another pack you could do that with where, oh, I need to make a small adjustment on the fly, I'm already loaded. Doesn't matter, drop it, a couple minutes later, you're back on the trail. So I mean, just small stuff like that is what really sets this pack kind of up and above the rest. They're all good, they'll all carry a load, but it's this small stuff. Me personally, when I tried the Exo, I was hoping for the best, obviously, but in my head, just seeing all the features, I'm like, even if I'm giving up 10 or 20% load capacity, I'll probably still run the Exo, just because everything is so much more streamlined and taken care of. But fortunately for us, that's not the case, and it's packing the loads just as good or better. It's a little bit more plush, and just the features are kind of that next level. So
All right, so there you have it. So there you have it, 4 bags that we really like. We're gonna try and get a few more. We're gonna do some videos of shooting bows with the packs and review just how they move. But if you have any questions on it, let us know. We do, a lot of people like to wait till they have an actual animal in the load shelf to see how they perform. But we just load up a lot of salt bags and take them and see how the bags perform. But so far, again, no sponsors, nothing like that, just real world reviews of guys that like to hunt backcountry for big animals and want to carry heavy loads. And so we'll keep you posted on it. We'll try and get a few more backpacks to compare and contrast, like a Mystery Ranch or a Kuyu, stuff like that, and we'll keep in touch. So thanks.
Right on.